Long time no see. I'm sitting here all by myself trying to get all the old tapes straightened out and try to relabel some of them, and I found this one that was empty that had part of a telephone call that was made God knows when. Anyway, a long, long time ago. Then I shut it off and got started on something else and sat down at the piano. So that's why you had a little jam session this afternoon. I haven't played that piano for a year, and I got the bug so bad, and now I sound lousy. Of course, on top of that, I've got a terrific cold in my chest. I don't know if I could practice a little yogi and stand upside down in the corner. Maybe I'd get rid of some of this heaviness in my chest and feel better. But somehow or other, we always manage to eat. We're always hungry. The coffee hasn't tasted so good since Dad and I had so much penicillin and stuff, but we're going to have fried chicken, and where I'm sitting here in the den, I can see the old skillet just steaming up, and potatoes in that. Got apple pie in the oven, and I haven't made up my mind, but it'll probably be green lima beans with that. Doesn't that sound good? Don't you wish you were here to have some with us? Of course, Dad and I roll out the portable TV and eat and enjoy our gang comedies. Do we love our gang comedies, even when they're real corny. Some of them are so far back that I feel like I'm, well, let's see, I swear some of them were shown about the time I was a kid, too. Believe it or not. You can believe that one if you want to, but it's the truth. Well, what do you think about our snow? Have you been seeing it in the paper? I haven't been out of the house but twice. Once to go to the grocery store, and we went to Margaret and Sam's Sunday afternoon and stayed for supper, and that's the first in over 2 weeks, way over 2 weeks, that I have been out of the house. Dad went to work last Monday. He said after being home just a month, he's had 7 days of work days off just through this darn cold. But we've really had it, you can believe it or not. But Monday morning, when I got up before Dad went to work, I put the radio on, and out at Copley at the radio station, it was 14 degrees below zero. And when Dad went to work on the TV, of course it's Cleveland, it was 1 below. So they all kidded him about picking such a wonderful day to go back to work. But doesn't seem that it's hurt him any. It's a nice, dry, clear air, but it's really bitter cold. And the last night, he went to the store for me, and he'd said, I don't know if I'll even get the car out of the garage the way the snow is banked up over the door. But he's got snow tires on, and he sailed out, and we left the door open so he could sail right back in, and believe me, he did sail in so he'd make the driveway. And before we settled down good for TV, I said, hey, Charlie, come look. The wind had been blowing so hard and blowing all this dry snow, and of course being so cold, you know, his tracks, which were at least 1.5 feet deep out there, were covered again. Well, of course, this morning you couldn't even find the driveway. Everything's even. So I wouldn't even venture out even if I could go out. I'm supposed to go to ceramics tonight, but I'm busy working on a little girl like the pair I made you of Iris. I've got one finished. I haven't seen it, though, because I haven't been up there for a couple of weeks. And so I sat here this afternoon, instead of getting my work done, I was sitting doing ceramics and fiddling around with the tapes and watched TV a while, and really haven't done much of anything. These days are so gloomy. Of course, I watched the van yesterday load up the people's furniture from next door over at Hart's across the vacant lot. They're moving to Philadelphia. And we got a card from Dice Alexander in Florida the other day, and they have bought a home at Lake Wales and are going to come back in June and sell our house. They want to know if we had any friends that might want it. They definitely are going to sell it. I tried to, so did Daddy. He was quite enthused. He said, wouldn't it be nice if Margaret and Sam would move in there? Well, we stopped in there Sunday with almost every Sunday. See, Janice and Dick and the baby are up. So they have a bigger cooked dinner because, well, they're like us. If I have a roast, I throw half of it away, which I did a few weeks ago. I had a sirloin tip and had to feed it to the cats. So that doesn't, that sort of hurts. So here we went in, and that was one Sunday that Dick and Janice went down to Maslin. And so Margaret said, well, will you have a cup of coffee with us? Will you have a bite to eat? If you'll eat what we're going to have. And I was surprised, because Sunday usually they fuss, We had chili, and it tasted so darn good just to go in like that and have just whatever they happen to have. She pulled out fruit cake and some boysenberries in a jar. She hadn't bothered to fuss at all. Sam has had a cold, and he was a little off his feed, and he wasn't hungry either. And although I haven't been able to get a good flavored coffee since I've taken so much penicillin, everything else tasted good down there. Boy, we were so tickled to get the valentines. We got them lined up here on the kitchen sill window. Even if they were a little late, we got a big thrill out of them, and then to think that Linda even wrote the envelope. And I had them all lined up on the supper table, say, when Dad came home. Gramp came home, and he saw the empty envelope in the living room, and he says, well, where's the letter? Where's the letter now? Come on, you're holding out on me. I said, no, I'm not. I said, what was in there are all on the table waiting for you. Oh. So he had to come out right away to see them, and he got a big kick out of it. I got a big kick out of the way Chicky signs his name, too. I don't know if it's Jojo or Gigi or Kiki or whatever it is. Won't be long before he'll be writing his name alone. And he gets there in school every day and studies real hard. Boy, those pictures you sent are wonderful. I want to know if you want them back or not. Are those the ones that I said send them, and then we'll send them back to Chris? Or do you want us to keep them, and then we'll send you money to have some more developed? But I think they're wonderful, and I'd like to keep them. That Kevin, boy, isn't he an ornery-looking little devil? Oh, I just love that. In fact, when I see that, I have to laugh every time. I just wish I'd been there with you. I believe even I would have crawled over those trees if I had pants on. But it looked so nice. What'd you have to eat? I couldn't see anything on that table that was too far away. I couldn't make out what you were eating. At least you looked a little nicer than we did when we were over at Anaheim Park with our mouths all stuffed full. Well, I think I better go turn the chicken and get the table set, because it is now 20 minutes of 5, and it won't be too long before Gramps will be coming in. Tonight he's supposed to go to church. They're having communion, but I bet he won't go, 'cause I can't go. I won't go out and take a chance on getting worse cold, because I rattle and shake inside. I even put the heat lamp on my chest today, and last night I rubbed with Vicks, 'cause I've had all the penicillin and all the APCs and all the bufferin and all. Well, we've gone through a couple bottles of cough medicine, and now I just rattle in there, and as this jam session shows you, I cannot sing. I'm as hoarse as a cow, sort of like a pig. Does that make sense? Well, I'm a horse. It's a wonder I didn't stop to cough. I was playing around with the piano last night. I sat in there, and Gramp had his westerns on, Tuesday night, everyone's westerns. And I asked him if he minded, if it bothered him, he could close the door here, and then he wouldn't hear me. I played for about an hour, And I turned around. I had a funny feeling, and here he was sitting on the Davenport all spread out and just enjoying it all. And I was in there just stumbling through a lot because goodness knows I sure need to practice a lot. And I said, "Oh, you like it that, huh?" And he says, "I sure do." So he says, "Play some more." So I, real bold me, I get the piano bench and I got out Deep Purple, Grieg's Concerto, and if I'd practice, maybe I could do something with them, but maybe I will. Maybe that's the only way I'll ever get an organist, to really show him that I can play, huh? When you figure that some of these pieces I haven't played for 5 or 6 years, I'm being nervy. But it's sort of nice. I've got to get the piano tuned. It certainly is bad, and one reason I was playing around with the tape, I really have no business sending you that tape with that music on because it's so lousy. But I wanted to, just to see how it sounded on there, intending to erase it. And I realized that piano's more out of tune since I've heard the tape. You can hear those lower tones on your higher tones, just how off they are. And, I have some artificial wheat that's in, and I have it in this great big, what do you call them, snifter bowls on the piano with some other little things stuck in there. And I was so darn mad because every day I'd find cat marks all over the piano. The cats were sitting up there. Finally it tumbled on me. Mickey loves those dried wheat stalks. They have sort of a glue or something over them, and he loves those things. So here he sits licking the things and breaking them off. So Sunday afternoon, of course, the weather was so lousy and all. I played around then with the piano and decided I was going to get those marks all off. I couldn't get them off with just lemon oil. So I washed it with soap, just one part, and then I put wax on, regular Simonize. And it looked so pretty, I thought, gee, why don't you get real energetic and do the whole thing. So now before I have the piano tuner come in, I want to clean underneath the strings, and that'll be another day of just piddling around, because that, like Charlie says, gee, that's going to be a hell of a job. And it is. But it's something that has to be done. I've never done it before, so I'm going to try it one of these days, and then... But really, if I'd called up and had a piano tuner come up, he couldn't even get in the driveway today. It is terrible. It's just high with snow. It's straight across. So maybe it'll warm up and it'll start melting a little bit. If we had to get out tonight, I don't know if Dad could get out of the driveway. And I won't let him shovel it. Won't start any of that. Well, honey, I think I'll go out and fuss around with my meal, and we'll just see how maybe I can get a few thoughts up here and talk to you. Well, honey, I started this tape last Wednesday, and here it is Friday. So I thought I'd better stop and tell you a few things that have happened in between. One reason why I haven't talk more to you. Well, the first, I'll tell you that our snow is beginning to melt. And as far as getting out of the drive, your Dad couldn't do anything. He had to go down to get some more of his little dizziness pills, and he says, well, I can go out, I've got snow tires. And boy, he opened the door of the garage and give her the gun and zoomed straight out. And same way coming in, and of course now things are melting down. But Wednesday evening I intended to have Dad talk to you on the tape, and of course we were supposed to go to ceramic class, and I wasn't going to go out with this cold in the garage, like the snow in front of the garage and all like that. And I didn't want the idea of coming home at 11 o'clock or 11:30 and having to work my way into that driveway. So in the meantime, I talked to Margaret, and she said, well, she thought maybe she'd go up. You know, she's gone twice now. But she said Sam didn't want her to drive, and this weather, and he wasn't feeling too good. He's had a little cold in his chest, but he was laughing and telling Dad and I that we should get his kind of cough syrup. It was better and so forth. Well, we'd already finished a bottle like his and got stronger kind, so that we had quite a laugh about that when we were down there last Sunday. Why, he had us smell it. I says, oh, we just finished a whole bottle of that, and we are on the next strongest now. So our colds are better. Mine is down in my chest, and if I could only stand upside down or do something, I think I'd get it out. And in the morning, why, I do cough a lot and get some up, but it isn't bad. I'm going to go and get my hair done tomorrow, and maybe I'll feel better then, and I think that helps an awful lot. But anyway, Margaret called back on Wednesday night, and she had to call the doctor. Sam had chest pains. So she called us back again later on after the doctor had been there, and the doctor thought he had a small heart attack again. And don't know if it came on from the medicine he was taking or what it was, but he thought he'd better go into the hospital. And of course he was due for a checkup. He has neglected to have it. No, he's about due right now anyway. So he said, well, not knowing his condition and what it was up in the east and all, he wanted to get all the cardiograms and so forth, and I'll give him the work. So in the meantime, gave him a shot of Demerol and his nitroglycerin pills he's supposed to have all the time. And yesterday morning then, when he came again and checked him, he's called the hospital. He says, I'm going to take him in and so forth, because he still had pains in his chest. So he got in there. They took him in the ambulance yesterday about 4 o'clock, and Margaret said that he had pains last night, and the doctor and the nurse gave him hypo. They didn't want to do it yet because they haven't given him his test yet, but as long as he has pain, well, they'll have to do that. So he really went in for a checkup and a couple days in there, so we won't know for a few more days how long he'll have to be there and so forth. But I talked to Margaret this morning, and she said she was going to go in, and I called Dad. And here, the funny part is he's in the room next to where Mac was. I talked to Mac a little while ago on the phone. He says, look up my colored girl in there. She's honey. He liked her real well. And then there was a little Amish girl that he had as a nurse. And he said she had such a long name, and he could never pronounce it, so he always called her George. And she just loved that. She just laughed, you know. He said it's unusual to see an Amish girl. And he said she looked so cute in her uniform with her braids all up around her head and so forth. But anyway, I'll keep you informed. We've got the other side of this tape to do, and we'll be hearing more. And I don't know if we're going to the hospital tonight or if Dad will get down this afternoon or what. But Ethel Garsky's mother died yesterday, and we didn't know anything about it until yesterday, the day before, because Dad went over to see him about his income tax, and went over to see Norm, and had a little trouble trying to find him. Either he was busy or Charlie was busy. So they talked income tax a while, and very casually then Norm says, well, Ethel's mother died yesterday. So Dad told me last night then about it, and I ordered flowers, and I know that we'll go to that funeral on Saturday afternoon. She's been down at the Miller Nursing Home. They put her there the last couple of months. She's been pretty hard to take care of. And, it's been coming for years, you know. She hasn't been a well woman, and they more or less have expected it. But, anyway, when I talked to Mac a while ago, he'd been over to Mary Louise's last night, because it was Jerry's birthday. You see, his birthday's on Wednesday, and Jerry's is the next day, so they celebrated over at Jerry's and last night. So they're all coming along fine. I said, gee, if you can get out, maybe you can come down here Saturday night. I said, it'll all depend and see how we are, if we have to go to the hospital, or if there's anything we can do to help Margaret. He says, we can go out to eat. He is just dying to go out to the lakes and have a fish dinner. I says, well, I'm ready to go anytime you are. I said, it'll all depend. We'll give you a buzz. So maybe we'll end up going out there for dinner Saturday, and maybe they'll come down here Saturday evening on the way home. And he says, I'm hungry right now. He says, I could go right now and eat. He says, I just got out of bed. You haven't had my breakfast yet? Well, he's in such good spirits. And he isn't real strong, and he can't walk far or anything. He told me we ought to have Roger for our neighbor, like they do. Roger gets the old Jeep out and shovels everybody's sidewalks with it, and their driveways, and he even went over and did Dave's. Dave's gaining his strength back. In fact, he went to Kenny Deacon's funeral yesterday. Kenny Deacon, had one leg off, and they were expecting the other one to have to be taken off, and his has been just a series of a lot of things. Remember old fat Kenny Deacon? Always come to fix the pump, and he'd stand and smoke and throw cigarette butts all over the floor. Poor guy. Well, we got your letter yesterday, honey, and boy, I'm telling you, you don't write real often, but you sure write a lot. Wait till I get the old whooping cough over. If I only get that darn gook out. It isn't bad. But you know me, I'm more scared of a cold than I am when I actually get it. I pity poor little Chickie. I'm telling you, every time I read your letters, that poor child gets more bangs. If he's not careful, he's going to have scars on his face when he gets older. I was thinking of the scar that Polly has on her nose. You remember that? That was just an accident at home where she got cut underneath the bridge of her nose. And gee, I better look. This tape's getting down. Oh boy, I'm an old windbag when I get started. Haven't done a bloomin' thing yet today. Either coughed when I cough real hard, then have to run to the toilet. So I finally got to sit myself dressed, and then the bed isn't even made yet. Table's still sitting from breakfast, such as is. Dad had toast and ketchup for breakfast. Oh, excuse me, he had a few prunes, Certain times he has to have his prunes or else. But when I got your big, thick letter, I was real happy. Well, before I get into that, I think I'm going to turn this over, and then I'll be all set to gab about your letter. Okay, kid? I got a big kick out of you talking about Howard Barlow waving his baton at you. He doesn't smile when he waves, so I wouldn't watch the bloomin' bugger. After all, he wasn't telling you anything at all. He was just looking at those musicians and giving them the 1, 2, 3. I'd love to have been there when the kids got Valentines. That's really a big day, isn't it? I guess I'm getting old. I forget about how much fun I used to have. Of course, we never got as many as the kids do now. No one had enough money to send one to everybody in the room. You only sent them to a few of your friends. You were lucky if you got the money to buy those. I got a big kick out of you taking Rennie with you to school. After all, you never know when you have to go into school and all, so why take the dog? Boy, I bet you were scared when you saw them bringing Chickie to you. Oh, I bet he looked awful. Just think, he might have had his nose broken. And then to lock yourself out. Gee, I did that not too long ago, right after we came back from California. I had to go over to Lynn's and get in out of the cold. Had to call Charlie. He had to send Homer home with a key. Get me in and all. Oh dear, what a time. And from now on, I believe it's just like a fetish. I've got to make sure that key's in my pocket when I go out the door, because I don't want to go through that again. And the funny part was I was supposed to go to Dillinger's that day to take care of the youngsters, and here I was locked out, didn't have any way of getting over. She had to call a neighbor in to take care of the baby. Oh gosh. And talk about windows locked. You know how this house is all locked up. And how's Pierre feeling? I've been thinking about her a lot. Have you heard any more about Dick when their baby's coming? Or is it here or what? I thought a lot about them. I just hope that they make a go of it now. By the way, the note I got from Janet, I sent it to you for the reason that Rowena hasn't written to me or said anything about it. And then to have the child write like that when we haven't had a letter since she went back last year. This is was the one little note. It was time for cookies, and it was then this other. So I know her mother had been urging her to write, and that was the way she had of breaking it to me instead of her writing herself. I owe her a letter, and my gosh, I've been a couple weeks, but I've only had one since we came back, so I'm not worrying too much. So, well, let's see. Oh, took pictures, of course. I got a big kick out of that, about taking pictures of Chicky, because those are the ones we like to see, too. By the way, I think Dad said he found some more pictures that you had C's on that we didn't have made for you. You know, you take those pictures in streaks, and then you put it away and you get doing something else and forget about it. But he has worked a little bit on his new case. You know, he got a case with all the drawers in it. And it's going to be quite a job for him to get all the pictures lined up. And of course, he'll have to have more drawers. Only bought 5 for this big case that he has. But I do hope that he likes his projector and everything. I think I told you he got a Baum & Losch, the one that you can sit back and press a button and they're run automatic. Same thing I want him to have for Christmas. I got a big kick out of Chrissy going horseback riding. Boy, that's something I always liked to do. You know, I used to do that when I was a little girl. When I was around 11, 12, I used to go down to Hartville, and they weren't riding horses, but they sure got you there. I loved it. Get on a horse and ride around. And I never thought if I smelled horsey, like you say he did when he came home. I guess being down the farm, I didn't pay any attention. Just plain horse. They're used to it. And I know what he meant when he said how it feels to be old. Ha ha ha. Oh gosh, glad you went to church. We didn't get to church last Sunday. And the week before. And the week before we had flowers on the altar for Grandma. And I asked Betty Dillinger about them. She said they were beautiful, big white mums, and a few spikes of glads in there. And but you know, church is so different. There's so many new people there. We hardly know any of them. And like I said to Bernice Paisley, well, I'm a pew warmer now. She says, well, that's the way I feel. These young people are so capable. Let them do the work, and we're always here if they want any suggestions. I got a chance to go to New York again. Charlie says, why don't you go? And I said, well, why should I go and see the same things and be in the United Nations and Riverside Park in Harlem and all that? And he says, well, why don't you go? I don't want to go. Ethel Dudley wants me to go with her, but I don't care, because we'll have workshops down at the Congregational Camp. They built a new place at Pilgrim Hills down close to Hocking Valley. And I'm going there on April the 29th to May the 1st. In fact, I haven't sent anything to Dad yet. I'll be going for a couple of days. That's when we really get out all of our programs and works for all the different churches in the state of Ohio. Then next Tuesday, of course, we have our regular board meeting, and we'll make plans then to go. Don't know who I'll ride down with, but I'm going to go and spend a few days and work. Being treasurer, I really haven't any office of any kind now, so I don't know what I'll be doing when I get down there. Yeah, I bet you really do enjoy your washer and dryer in your playroom there. And it's so handy. Now you'll have to keep it emptied and cleaned off, and really it'll be the focus point when anybody comes in the family room, huh? Har har. Have to keep it cleaned off? That wasn't nice. I'm just trying to figure out how you got this drywall and plywood. Well, you know me, that's all Greek to me. Covered the closets with the drywall. In other words, I guess it's just wallboard of some sort. And beading frames on the corners. And boy, I bet Chris is tickled with his table in the corner. By the way, we listen to all of Lawrence Welk, so every time you're listening, you remember we can see it too. Holy cripes. I've been shutting the cats down in the cellar because they've been clawing the furniture since they couldn't get out. I've got kitty litter so that I could keep them in. And now I heard something fall and go bang. They keep crawling up on everything. I'll have to go down in a little while and see. Well, I didn't know that Lee Fulmer piloted this Navy Neptune, and I was quite interested in that because we read all about it in the paper. You didn't write about the yo-yos, unless you wrote a letter and we didn't get it, but I didn't know anything about that. Charlie got the biggest kick about Kevin must stand on the chair to work his. That's really something. And Chris, yeah, I can just see him walking around trying to do things and having some excuse why he couldn't do them, and with a yo-yo in one hand, and imagine trying to carry a can full of papers. Jeepers. And I'm glad you got your shutters, gee. Roses and pinks are beautiful, and our azaleas and orange trees. Oh boy, wouldn't I love to be there now? Gosh, I'd like to walk up to an orange tree right now and stick my face in those blooms. And Fia Yaga. By the way, I looked up on my paper. Fia means Mr. So if you call him just Fia, that's the same as calling him Mr. And Yaga is Keeper of the Temple. So it's Mr. Keeper of the Temple. I think that's a pretty darn nice name. But imagine him eating that wall. Gee, I never had any trouble with mine like that. Of course, the steak, that is something. I had plenty of trouble like that. I still have trouble with the cats getting on the cupboard here if I put anything out. So I stick them in the oven. But the ashtrays, that is a new one. Why don't you give them something to play with? I think it's wonderful that you can have Rennie around in the house. Can't leave the seat up on the toilet or she's in it. Well, why don't you put a dish of water out for her? She's just plain thirsty. You know, Mickey does that every once in a while. If I don't have anything to drink out here for them, I find him in there at the bathroom. Oh, the other day, one night, that's one reason I put the cats in the cellar. I had a mishap with Ming. I think it's Ming. She went into my new rug in the bathroom. She always goes in front of the toilet, whichever one it was anyway. And when I'm telling you, they folded that rug all four corners just as easy as if they'd been wrapping a sandwich up. The rug was folded as neatly as could be. But the final crowning point was night before last when Mickey ate horse meat and just irped. Well, he starts running around the house. He's like a wild person. He just runs in circles all around this house. She opened the door and he wouldn't go out on account of the snow, and here he was sick and couldn't do anything about it. If we'd only got a hold of him, but he goes so fast you can't get a hold of him to pick him up and throw him out, and he irped all in the carpet and several places all through the living room, so you know what a job that was. Got it all taken care of, and I decided, oh, this is it. They're going to stay in the cellar. So I went out the garage, and I did find enough sand for a little bit in the pen. So they're being kept downstairs now until they're able to go out and really run a little bit. They could go out now, but they don't go far. They just go to the front stoop. And put another $15 in the kids' TV set. Boy, you can do that. We just had to have this little one fixed. And you know, every time I walk across the floor, I get shocked on the darn thing. I got so anymore, I'm scared to. I stand there a while and I rub my fingers, and then I finally get real bold and give it a twist and take a chance on it. But one night I took everything that I had on. I had that gray nylon Orlon dress, and I happened to have a nylon petticoat on and all. I went in, I took everything off and put cotton on. Because I thought maybe it's me. I'm just full of static from the different kinds of clothes I'm wearing. Because I can even go to the light switch and get shocked anymore. Charlie says I'm just heat up. I'm just really a hot kid. I'm full of electricity. Oh, gosh. I don't envy you your black and gold dinner. I saw in the paper last night where they're planning a big one up at Stowe, and their program is just different ones entertaining, you know. Piano solo and all that stuff, you know. But, you know, I think a nice thing when you have Cub Scouts, if you have somebody around there that does magic tricks. Boy, the kids love that. We had that at church a few times when we entertained Boy Scouts. Well, not the Boy Scouts. Now, wait a minute. It was a father and son banquet. And then we had the same fella come when we had mother and daughter banquet last year. And it goes over big, even with the grown-ups, you know. But if you're looking for entertainment, that is a problem. Of course, I don't know how much money they have to spend on entertaining. Well, I haven't had a word from Shirley, and I sent her, for her birthday, bulky knit sweater. Oh, it was a good-looking one with a large collar and a V-neck. Then it buttoned down, and this pleated skirt with a little blue check to it. And I haven't heard. Dad wrapped the thing and addressed it and sent it. And I told him, I said, "You sure you got the right address? You didn't send it down to Fort Knox?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "I sent it to Georgia." So I've been wondering now if she's gotten it, because by now, she was so faithful. One week we had 4 letters. And then all at once I don't get any letters at all. And that's what makes me wonder about her package. But I'll send her your letter too, honey. I'm going to drop her a line. Suppose her check will be coming in any day, and I always manage to do that. Monday is Margaret's birthday. I've got her card here ready and to send to her. And, oh, I can't think of anything else right now, dear. I know one thing. I've got to run the sweeper. I haven't done a blooming thing. Yesterday, I didn't do a thing but sit. And then with Dad going out to this dinner last night. He didn't get home till 10:30, and he said, "Did you think I was lost?" He came in, and I said, "You know, I was wondering what happened to you, because he usually gets in about 9:30. It was over at Women's City Club." He says, "Well, the speaker didn't show up," and he says, "We had a round-table discussion," and he said, "If you can figure a bunch of men all telling their woes at work." He was quite disgusted when he came home. He says, "I'd rather have been sitting here watching television and talking to you. Are we getting to be old fogies? We don't go anyplace." But boy, of course the weather is a good excuse. Who wants to go out when it's real bad? But we're going to have to start, because we haven't anybody coming in, and you know why. If you don't go and visit them, why, you just don't have people come in. Well, trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, yes, I wanted to tell you that I got out the Oestreicher book and looked at those pictures, and honest, the more I look at them, your Harnett picture is the one I like the best. I'm going to take this whatnot down over the Davenport and put up a real good picture there, and I think it should be something that's oblong. And or some arrangement. If you can suggest anything, I sure would be glad. But on the new House Beautiful, they have an advertisement for Oestreichers, and they have a new catalog out. I've got it staring me in the face here, because I'm going to send them a check and get another book, which I know you'll love to have, too. But it says that it illustrates over 500 masterpieces. Well, I don't think your book has 500 pictures in it. And it lists over 4,700 pictures. And this is their anniversary year. So I thought, well, I'm going to send for that. Maybe I'll see something else in the new book. But I'm very anxious to do something in the living room. In fact, I've even been, excuse me, honey, considering changing the color in there. If I have a certain blue, and you know blues can be terrific, with maybe 2 walls of gray, something that they blend in together. Now, up at Paisley's, they have that combination, and sometimes you can't tell if you're looking at a blue wall or a gray wall. They're tied in so well together. And then I thought that if I did that by going in then to the bedrooms, I still love my purples, it would tie it in more than this jump from the bright green into the purple. And then get a real pastel pink in the bathroom. So Charlie says, well, he's willing to paint. He says, now what color do you want? I says, oh, Charlie, it's only in the thinking stage. This is something that you have to look at for a couple of years. And then if I have the Davenport not recovered, I want a slipcover made that I can zip on. And I want a real good one. While I'm at it, putting the money into the labor, I might as well get something in probably a quilted pattern. This sounds like I told you this before, but I do have it on my mind all the time. And I'm going to make a skirt for around Grandma's bed. Margaret had one made for her bed. And gosh, it cost her $25. Besides, she paid the woman $8 to make it. And she gave her a sheet for the part that goes between the bed, the mattress and the springs. I have to get new box springs for Mama's room because I know that that's what's the matter with the bed. It's too low. We've got the old coil springs in there, you know. And they had such a wonderful sale on downtown last week, but I couldn't get out to go and get a set. But that's the first thing I'm going to do when I go downtown. But I thought, gee, $25 for that, just that skirt, when you could make it. I couldn't see that. I want mine, she has a ruffle around, small ruffle around the bottom of hers, and I don't like to iron that well, so mine's going to be plain. I haven't made up my mind if I'll pleat it or if it'll be gathered or what. I might go downtown and find something that I could make a spread that would go straight across with then the ruffled sides that would drop straight down instead of a skirt. But definitely it's going to be some change in there. And I think I'll get just plain curtains with the small ruffle around the edge. I don't have to have the traverse rods used. You know, I have the 2 sets of drapes on there now and all that heavy curtain. But I'm going to start shopping as soon as I get able to run around. You know that when I go to town, I can't stay any longer than an hour and a half. When I walk around the stores, my back just nearly kills me. So that's one thing that I have to do in easy stages. And of course, when pictures and things go down in Mama's room, which will be changed, why, that means all those spots have to be fixed up, and I do hope that they don't leave marks. I don't know how it'll work out, because that dark painting really shows when you touch up it all. I'm going to check into having the vanity, the mirror taken off. It'll have to be refinished, the vanity will, and use it as a desk, either in my bedroom. I gave the little desk, you know, to Janice that really belongs to her. I told them they could fix it over for Bethy, that she'll be using it one of these days. And then I think secretary, I'm going to have a man come in and look at that and have the maybe shutter doors put on it, and if I can have it finished in a light wood, I'll use it downstairs in the rec room for a bar, and then the bottom drawers for papers and things that Dad likes to store. I think I'm going to look and see if the mailman's here and really get to work, because you never know when this babysitter is going to be called to be doing things, you know. I'm only talking. Beth Ann's down in Maslin. They took her down there. But so that Janice would be free to go back and forth with her mother at the hospital for Sam. But I'll be talking to you again, sweetheart. Well, honey, I've left this tape setting around now all over the weekend for Dad to talk to you, and somehow or other he sticks on television, and the first thing you know, why, the evening's shot. Sunday we sat around and almost fell asleep looking at each other, and we were supposed to go out to Glenn's. Finally, I said to Dad, oh, I know why I don't want to move around here. I don't want to go to Glenn's. Let's go down and see Stella and Ken and take back their suitcase. It was still sitting in the bedroom from when we were back to your home. So we went down to Stella's and Ken's, and here he was coming down with a cold, feeling miserable as the dickens, and all he needed was our bright, smiling faces. They were so darn happy to see us, and put out the welcome mat, and we had a lot of fun just sitting watching television and talking. And then Stella got out some of her old records. Oh boy, does she have some real hot ones, you know, like My Darling Lona and some of those wah-wah stuff that Charlie just drooled, and he and I even got up and danced. We were having such a good time. So Stella goes down to the freezer and brings out a bunch of steaks, and made us stay for supper. We had steaks and salad and what else? Stewed tomatoes, just the things that Dad likes. So we didn't come home from there till 10 o'clock. And that was one day that Dad didn't go down to see Sam, because we figured, well, Joe and Marge would be up from Canton, and all. Found out Monday morning then when I called Margaret that they didn't come up. And but she said it was so noisy in the hospital she hoped to get Sam home. Well, up to yesterday they've kept him in. They sent to Massachusetts, you know, for his cardiograms, and apparently he didn't have a coronary this time. So now they're keeping him in longer. They're going to x-ray him from top to toe to find out just what was the cause of it. It might have been just strain and anxiety. It might have been from his cold or something or other. So the next couple of days he should be coming home and get straightened out again. We went up to see Mac on Saturday night, and in fact, we intended to go out to eat, and he called in the afternoon. He says, well, you're coming up here for supper. I just stuck your supper in the oven. So I hated to do that because that's just more fussing for them, but I knew that it was up to him because he would know best how he felt, and he didn't feel very good. He was just worn out, just sitting in the car and going down to the store with Eleanor. Eleanor went in and did all the shopping, and he stayed in the car with the youngsters. So we went up there and had a pork supper and sat around until almost midnight, and he was pretty bushed. I baked a pie and a pan of brownies and took them up, so of course we had to have coffee and pie with ice cream at midnight, which doesn't help your old age. Sunday morning we went to church, and then, like I said, we went down to Fulford's, and there was Sunday. So Monday night, Dad had board meeting at the church, and by the time he comes home and eats and looks at the paper quick, it's time to go again. And last night was dinner over at Silver Lake Church. They had men's club on Tuesday now instead of Wednesday during Lent. I had a board meeting at the YW, and that started at 10 o'clock, and I didn't get home till just before supper time. So that's the way the time goes. Tonight we're having Homer and Eleanor and little Joy for supper, and I'm going to have to get busy pretty soon. I've done nothing but fiddle around here and hit the high spots and dust, and I suppose my dishes are dirty. I haven't had anybody in for so long, and that's all Dad keeps hollering about. So I thought, well, I'm going to start. He still hasn't finished the 2 spots on the bedroom wall where he plastered where the holes were from moving the mirror, and I want him to sand those down and paint them, but they can come and see it if he wants them to come, and he doesn't finish his work, why, they'll just have to come and see it. I'm going to have stuffed pork chops, candied sweet potatoes, a new recipe that I got that came from the Blackstone Hotel for green beans, and you might be interested in that. It's, you cook them same as usual. I'm going to have the frozen French-style string beans. And then you take 1/4 of a cup of vinegar and 1/4 of a cup of butter. And just before you serve them, you put that and also some slivered almonds that you've buttered. I'm going to blanch them and cut them up and then put a little butter over them, stick them in the oven to watch them closely, you know. But ooh, aren't they good? That little bit of vinegar and butter all over the beans after you've drained them. It just marinates them lovely. You can have apple pie. If they want ice cream with it or cheese, it's up to them. And let's see. Oh, the funny part was I was all thrilled. I got a letter the other day from Shirley, and I thought, oh, she got her package, and I'll open it up. And here is the carbon copy you sent her of the letter. She thought that she was supposed to send it to me, and not another word on it to me about it. So I still don't know if she got her gift or not. Little Pam is going to be able to go to school starting next week. She's been in bed, you know, with nephritis ever since Christmas. So she's up and around the house now, and they took her out Sunday for a ride. It's been simply beautiful here. In fact, it's been in the 50s. And sunshine, the kids are all out playing, and it really has been wonderful. Of course, I put the cats out night before last, and Mickey had to go get in a fight with somebody, and he's like an old man the way he walks around here, and hair looks matted and everything, and Ming would even bother with him because he smelled of somebody else. And yesterday when I went down to the Y, I put them out for the whole day and left the garage doors up. I thought, boy. When Dad came home from work, I had the front door open. Of course, the storm door was on, but that sun was coming in just beautifully. Today it's dull, but we're supposed to have rain tomorrow. But it's so much better than all that snow, and all the snow has been washed away, and the green is beginning to show. So even if we have another cold spell and more snow, we won't care because it couldn't be too far now. Oh, and I went down and looked at hats at Polsky's yesterday. I still want a large straw hat, very tailored, so I can wear it with my black coat and then with prints. And in the falls then I looked. I couldn't find a thing at Polsky's. Boy, I was trying on hats $35 and $40 and still didn't find what I wanted. And so I came up the falls because I wanted to buy a little girdle, lightweight girdle. I got one of those sarongs. And decided to look at hats, and they had a cartwheel there that was simply gorgeous, but it was bright orange. It was, I loved it, but I thought, what in the world do I wear with orange? I hate to pay that price for a hat and then have to wear it with just one dress, one outfit. And I really don't know what color I want, but I think when I see the hat, I'll know it's just what I want. And most of the hats this year, the real good ones, are covered with flowers and that, and so far I haven't seen anything in that line, and I don't want anything that dressy, I think. But, there's really nothing else happened around here. Everybody that you talk to, you're either getting over colds or coming down with them or something or other, and then the change in the weather, as George says, that's always more business for him. And just wondered if your blue and gold, blue and gold or black and gold? Blue and gold dinner is over with, and how it came out and all. So instead of writing to you, I thought certainly I'd have this tape all finished and surprise you with it instead of a letter. And gosh, the way it's going, why, you'll be wondering what happened if I got my wrist broken or something. I haven't written to Shirley yet either, but I don't know, it just seems like I can keep busy. You'd be surprised how dirty this house can get with just 2 people. Last night Dad came home, he took his rubbers off at the door, and you could follow every step he took because he had black marks all over the gray carpeting. And always like a little kid, you know, when I asked him about it, he says, well, you saw me wear my rubbers home, you saw me take them off. I said, well, it must be from the floors at Goodyear where you walk around, and then when you put your rubbers on, you still bring it home. Oh, I want you to know those floors at Goodyear are clean. I said, well, there's the proof. So he just grins and walks away. So it ends up that I have to do the bathroom rugs, too. He walks straight in the bathroom always, and that gets it, too. And our bedroom carpeting, you can tell who walks in with the dirt because of right up into his closet. It's always dirty. There's a path right into his closet. So we might as well have a whole gang of kids around. We wouldn't have any more dirt than we've already got. We've got just as many finger marks and everything else, so we can't blame the youngsters for them when they come. And by the way, about coming, I didn't say anything to Rowena about the youngsters because Chuck had said something to Gramp about, they were going to fly this year. And I thought, well, now that is another thing, that they're going to have to make the first move. I'd love to have the youngsters if she wants to send them. And so that's up to you. But even if they don't come, you come with your 4. And we'll figure out how much money it is and so forth, because we want to have you. I know you can't afford it, so we're going to see what we can do. And I haven't called to find out because we'd really have to wait till we found out if there'd be 6 children or not, you know. But I think it'd do you good. Maybe Frank can come too. For goodness sakes, we don't have to worry about room between our place and Bernie's. Why, do the same as we did before. Doesn't bother me one bit. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. And as far as room around here, we'll make room, don't worry. And let's see. Anyway, it's something I'm living for, that you might be able to come this summer. And if Frank can come with you, so much the better. I think it'd do him good to get away from it all. Of course, now you've got your livestock to worry about. How'd you like that when I addressed your letters as the Taylor Ranch? Coming out in the train, we saw that on a big barn. Taylor Ranch. And I said, oh boy, I think we've graduated from Taylor Tent to Taylor Ranch with all the livestock they've got back there. I have to tell you a funny incident. Last night when Dad went over to the Silver Lake Men's Club, I took the car and went over to, he wanted to get a couple more of those boxes to put slides in because Homer and Eleanor wanted to see the pictures, and he wanted to put all of his Disneyland pictures together. So he needed a few more boxes over there at the Photomart. And I said, well, I'll run over while you're at the meeting. So I went into 5 and 10 to get a couple more plants for the living room, the little small ones, because that one little planter that I have looked sort of sick, and I thought I'll put some fresh ones in. So I was in there picking out these plants, and some character was looking for a net to clean out his fish bowl. And he got to talking, and he was telling all about these fish he had, and those goggle-eyed ones, how tame they are. Finally he said, oh, and he said, we got a parrot sheep here not too long ago. And, oh, he said, it's so tame, it talks to us. And every time he used the word parakeet, he'd say parrot sheeps. I thought I'd die. It was all I could do to keep my face straight, because he was in a leather jacket and a cap, and he had a big cigar stuck in a cigar holder, and most of his teeth were out in the front, and every time he'd go to say something, that cigar would wiggle up and down. He reminded me of Red Skelton last night, trying to clean his teeth around without taking the cigar out of his mouth. But, yeah, I love that, so we've got a new name now, the Parrot Sheeps. And I wanted to ask him, he said he found out that he thought it was a female parrot sheep, but I found out afterwards it was a male. I wanted to ask him how he found it out. I've never been able to. So, let me see, what else can I do? I think I told you that Martha and Mac aren't going to take the big mold that I bought, and I'm out all that until I can go out and sell it. And of course, with the colds that we had and the weather like it was, I haven't gone yet. Thought sure I'd do it this week, but I do have to work around the house one day once in a while. And I want to go over here to Model Ceramic and see if he would be interested. Maybe he's already got one. If I'm stuck with it, I'm stuck with it. I'd have to hire a man to come in and pour it for me, I guess, in order to get a couple to make lamps. I haven't done anything more about fixing up the house. Like yesterday when I went downtown, it cost me $1.10 to park at Russell Harp's. After that meeting at the Y, and going down to Polsky's for just, I wasn't in there any more than 3/4 of an hour, or an hour. And I thought, well, I just don't have time to go start looking for material for bedspreads and things like that really take a lot of time, so they're going to be individual trips. Or if I look into having any refinishing done or anything, every bit of it just takes so much time. They charge you 40 cents for the first 2 hours. I wish I was at the Broadway where I could just drop in. Wouldn't have to worry at all about parking. Take your time about browsing. I've got the time, but gee, $1.10 would pay for a pair of hose, wouldn't it? So, I'm sitting here looking out at that kitchen and thinking of all the things I should be doing, and I'm sitting here talking with my daughter and my little grandchildren. God love them. See, they had some dresses on sale in O'Neill's in the Falls, and I was tempted to get Linda one, and the more I looked at them, they looked awful cheesy. I thought, oh, I'd waste my money just for that, because I don't think they'd stand up a lot of washing. But they were cute little things. There was a red print there that looked so cute. I looked at the seams and all, and I don't think they'd stand up under the strain. Sometimes I wonder why people buy some of those things. How's the sock situation back there coming along? Anybody need socks now? Soon be time for Easter, and you'll all want some fresh things. By the way, what are you going to have for Easter? I'm not going to get anything. I can't think of what I'd want even. Oh, I could get one of the new sack dresses, but they're too darn expensive yet. I got a pattern the other day to make up the pink polished cotton you gave me, and it's going to be just a plain dress with ties on the shoulders. It's a McCall pattern. You probably have seen it. And by the way, please send your measurements, will you? For goodness sake, I can't remember the number of the pattern here, but I saw a darn cute one in trying to reach down here to get this book down from under the table. There's one of these loose ones, and I thought, oh, I'd like to see Sharon have that. Hope you don't mind waiting while I look through here on I think it was a McCall's. Lynn bought all the pattern books, and I've had a field day, so you can see how I'm thinking. just itching to get at them. Another thing, too, I haven't gone down yet to see about knitting one of those sweaters like you got at Christmas time. Gee, come to think of it, I don't think that was in here. I think it was in the new Good Housekeeping. Be in the Better Homes and Gardens. Stand on my head, Sharon. Oh, kettle posh, can't find it. Well, anyway, it was set out from the neck with a roll collar that was very pretty, that I know you like. And I think it was a two-piece so that the top part came down over the skirt, which would be another free feeling. It had a blouse pattern with it, and it was of a print, and then the jacket was lined in the print. And even though you have your lining for your jacket, maybe I can find a print and make the jacket and line the jacket and have the blouse the same thing, something to go with it. But I wish you would send your size and your bust measurements, your waist measurements, your length of your sleeve, and the length from the back of your neck to your hem. By the way, the dresses are supposed to be shorter this year, just over the kneecap. So that will be another thing too. Take the length of your dress and have Pierre measure for you for that. And if Linda had a pattern, if there was something that you see in the magazine or a pattern book that you'd like to have me make it up, say a little percale or anything like that, or denim or something or other, why, write and tell me what size to get for. I'll be glad to make it up. I can always, if it's a dress or something cover up of some sort, why, I can always just turn the hem up and you can baste it in or sew it by hand, and she'd have something like that if you wanted it for her. Pedal pushers or anything like that of denim that she might need. I don't think it pays really to make the tops when you can buy those little knits that doesn't require any ironing. Main thing is to buy material that will come out of the dryer. I didn't tell you that this is now, let's see, Wednesday, I think. Is it Wednesday? Yes, it's Wednesday all day, believe it or not. Time goes so quick, I started this tape last week. So by golly, today it's going to be finished, or else, so that it'll be on its way for you. If I send it out tomorrow, maybe you'll get it Saturday. Gosh, I got another 5/8 of an inch or more on this tape. Well, tell me something. Why don't you answer me a little bit? How about your kids talking to me a little bit so I can have something to say? I saw in the O'Neill's, in the Cub Scout department, they have books for, I guess it was for the Scouts, for getting badges for taking care of your dog, and I wondered if Chris had any book like that, or if that's what he was working on now, because a lot of times I can pick up things if I only knew what you needed. Get a kick out of it. Dad and I were down Saturday, I guess it was, that he got rubbers. He has such a time getting rubbers to look decent on his shoes because his feet are so narrow, and so while he was at it, he found some at Edwards and got a pair of black ones and a pair of brown ones, and we were going through O'Neill's and happened to pass right by the Scout department there in the Falls when I said, oh, look, I wonder if Chris has got one of these. The first reaction, wondering what the kids could use. But the more I thought about the shutters for the kitchen, Charlotte, I decided that I couldn't put anything on that windowsill if I have any over the sink. And I really haven't any windowsills to stick anything on, and once in a while I do like a plant up there and all. So I think I'll let it go like it is. I did see a pretty silk cafe curtain that I could use in the dining area, and I may get that. I haven't made up my mind what length to get, because if I put it up high so that I can still leave it up in the summertime when I open that window, see the window, the screen, you have to open it and it opens out. Why, I'd have to have it high, and I don't think it's going to look so good. Cafe should be at the middle of the window, I think. And but it was a real pretty pastel silk, and will go with the other silk that I have out here. Well, I don't suppose we'll put the tape on tonight. I might just let it run, but there isn't enough of it there to worry about. I'd like to finish this tape so I can put the recorder up. We can set it on the bottom of our television table. And I wanted to get it out of the way before Joy comes tonight. Dad's been working at his slides and putting them in the boxes, and I think that he'll soon get them all in order pretty good. But my gosh, he went through and was stamping them all. 1955. I said they should come stamped when you have them developed, like the regular black and white pictures do. I noticed those that you sent us here, how the date and the month is on them, and that's a wonderful help when you're lining them up. I went over to get those slide boxes last night, and instead of jeepers, I can't say, it's Bausch and Lomb. I asked for Bausch and, I had just the first letter backwards. Let's see, it's Bausch and Lomb, and I asked for Losh and Baum. And that girl started to laugh. I said, think nothing of it. I said, in ordinary conversation. I said, I always say black is white and white is black. You can't depend on me. But she really got a big kick out of me. I sailed in there in a hurry, you know, to get those boxes, and then breezed up to her and made that remark, and she really got a big laugh out of it. Oh, well, I'm screwy that way anyway. Well, take good care of yourselves. Write, give me your dimensions or your measurements, and tell me what else you're doing, and if you got any ideas about painting the living room, I would like to go in something that would tone in with my purple in the bedrooms. I still like them. And anything like that, get your old thinking cap on, kiddo. I wish you were here to help me. Wouldn't it be fun if you were here and we'd pick up and go downtown and just finger shop and plan some things? Up at, you know, the Gordons used to live behind us in Stowe? Their little girl is just 15 now, and she's babysitting across the street from them on Oak Road last Saturday night. A fella broke in and came in and hit her over the head with a ginger ale bottle. And just luckily, while she was tussling with him, why, the people came home. Apparently it was close to Charlotte Haynes's, because she lives just a few doors up the street on the other side. But you know how particular the Gordons always were. Boy, I bet this is something I will never let Gail go out again and babysit. But it's quite a worry when you figure that he got on a ladder and crawled in a window to come in that house. He'd been watching her through the window. I said, gosh, I keep my doors locked. Not that anybody want old Grandma, but I wouldn't trust. They might think I've got $1 million in here or something, you know, when they see that Chrysler out in the driveway or something. Of course, I don't wear mink like your mother-in-law does. I should call and see if Bernie's back from Boston. She was supposed to go up for those shots, and I just haven't called her because she talks so long, and to tell the truth, when I have the time to call her, I don't think of it. And then I think of her when I just can't take the time. But I'm just wondering if she might be staying up there a while. It all depends, I suppose, if Joe had something to do in the East, you know. But, well, say hello. I'll say hello individually. Hiya, Chris. Hiya, Linda. Hiya, Chugger and the old busted lip. And hi, Kevin, you old schmoo, you. Hi, Rennie. Ow, 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 ow. Hiya, Fia Yaga. Meow, meow. Ming's looking at me, and so's Mickey. They both think I'm a screwball. Well, you know, for a grandmother, I am sort of screwy. Hiya, Franklin. And hiya, Charlene Ray. Oh, here comes Mickey running. He wants to know if I'm sick or something. Quit your pushing, Mickey. You old tomcat, you. You look a mess. You need a good brushing. Go on over there and wash yourself. You're an old pill. Why don't you go over there and lay like Ming is? She won't have you around her, will she? Huh? Yeah, you got an old look of a tomcat. You got your ear all nicked and everything. Go on. Say something to the kids. Meow. Go on. Meow. 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 Oh, Ming's coming too now. Here, Ming. Meow, meow, meow. Here. You got any motors going? Huh? Got your motor going? Come on. Get your motor going, Mickey. Come on. Mickey, quit rubbing the mic. Here. Oh, quit. Oh, he's just rubbing that mic something fierce. Get your motor going, will ya? Huh? Oh, he's flipping his ears now. Come on. Oh, I don't know if he made a noise on that or not, but he sure is rubbing us. Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Well, so long, kids. Hope to be hearing from you soon. How about filling this tape up now? Just erase this and talk back to us and send it as soon as you can. Tell us everything you're doing. You've got plenty of room on here. You can talk now for a couple days. Bye-bye.